All right, and here they are, TIO Stadium. It's the Tiwi Bombers. Let's hear it for them.
It's more than a game, hey, it's our religion now, and it's in our blood, it's in our veins, it's every day. You know why, you know why, you know why, you know why, but you know what I got by me.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are about to get underway with the coin toss. We'd like to thank Mark Lockwood for doing the coin toss with us this evening. And it looks like St Mary's have won the toss and chose St Mary's in. Very, very haunted. That's okay. Airport ends. More than 100 women, children and men were killed last year in Australia as a result of family and domestic violence. These are more than numbers. Those people are wives, children, husbands, parents, brothers, sisters, uncles, aunts and friends. The No More campaign uses the power of sport to change the way the public views family violence. It was founded in the Northern Territory in 2006 by ABC commentator Charlie King after talking with men in Aboriginal communities about the issues that they face. The elders told Charlie no more and all men should link up, which is what we are about to see. Both St Mary's and Tiwi Bombers linking arms along with our umpires officiating today's game. Let's all work together to reduce the numbers of victims of family, domestic and sexual violence. It might sound small, but signing up and pledging your support at nomore.org.au can add your voice to the national call to end violence.
More than 80 Australian women and men were killed last year by family violence. The No More campaign uses the power of sport to change the way the public views family violence. The linking of arms is a symbolic statement to show that everyone who links up is committed to ending the violence, no matter where or who they are. When these players link arms today, they're raising awareness about the issue and sending a strong message to everyone that family violence is never acceptable. Today, we congratulate both teams on taking a stand against family and domestic violence. Sign up to show your support at nomore.org.au.
Well, good evening and welcome to TIO Stadium for round 17 of the TIO NTFL season, the second last round of the home and away season, with the Tiwi Bombers, the third place Tiwi Bombers, up against St Mary's in the commentary box this evening. Myself, Matt Hepworth, Ricky Nolan and Rob Cross. Gentlemen, before we get into the game, we should acknowledge the players and umpires, the footage just on screen before linking arms there as part of the No More campaign. Of course, we know the No More campaign uses the power of sport to change the way the public views family violence. Sadly, more than 100 women, children and men were killed last year in Australia as a result of family and domestic violence. The No More campaign, a wonderful organisation founded by Charlie King, a wonderful Territorian, and it's so great to see all teams in the NTFL coming together to support it this weekend, Ricky.
Yeah, very important cause. We've come a long way in that area so far, but we've still got a long way.
We do.
Long way to go as well. So, up for a bit of a ripper game here. There's a chance, I think it's an outside chance, but a chance that these two could play in the grand final this year, although it'd be highly unlikely, you'd think, after last week, that Nycliffe wouldn't be there on the in the last game in March, but it could happen. Two good sides. I thought Tiwi played pretty well last week, but just the thing that impressed me with Nycliffe is they just found a way to win. And St Mary's are chugging along under the banner. They've got a few out. Jack Geary not playing and Jared Waite not playing, I think, which will strengthen them a little bit less, but I think Saints need to be at full strength to win a premiership. And Tiwi, of course, are missing players as well, but I just think they really need those players, Waite and Jack Geary.
Rob Cross.
Yeah, it should be a terrific game. And just going back to the round this week, the No More campaign round, Charlie King's been away on a sabbatical in Italy. He may be back, I'm not sure. I think he's coming back in around late January or February, but certainly the work that he's done to found this campaign and the vital work against domestic violence is a tremendous cause. And Ricky Nolan's stars on one of the ads that we see playing during the coverage.
I might have got sacked during the week. I saw there was a new ad, which wasn't as good as my ad, but it wasn't too bad.
But yeah, very important cause, and Charlie's done a wonderful job and fantastic. And now he's got Mark Motlop on board, so Mark Motlop was out there linking arms as well. He was well known in territory football circles. But yeah, it should be a terrific game. These two sides have played twice already this year. I think it was round 3 we saw them play, when Tiwi kicked 10 goals in the first quarter, 10 goals to 1. The second quarter, St Mary's kicked 9 goals to 2. They won by 14 points in the end. And the second time they played in round 8, Tiwi's won again, that time by 34 points. So a clean sweep tonight by Tiwi will set themselves up for a top 3 spot, because if they lose, they'll fall out of the top 3 by virtue of the Buffaloes beating Waratah last night. So a vital game for Tiwi. I reckon their pace might worry Saints tonight, but we'll wait and see. The opening bounce quickly hacked forward by Edwards, but only as far as Jones, who plays game number 5 tonight. They need 6 to qualify, and you'd imagine with 1 round to go next week, that's exactly how they've structured it. There's a little turnover there with a spilt mark out on the left half-forward flank, and the ball goes out of bounds. Rick?
Yeah, Brandon's muffed that up, but just Anthony Long, who's usually pretty good below his knees, he just fumbled. They're away, Saints, but if you had to first grab the footy, they're away. But unlike Anthony Long to grab the footy.
Monagatti and Smith should be a wonderful contest. Socket off the ground by the Tiwi Bombers. Purantatameri comes to Davies. Back up towards half-forward. Clever nudge, not clever, illegal, says the umpire. That'll be a free kick to Saints out at left half-forward. St Mary's second on the ladder. Kick comes in towards Calder, right at his bootlaces. Jones picks up for the Tiwi Bombers, curls a kick around. That's a wonderful pick-up. So St Mary's 60 from goal. In it comes. Through the fingertips, Farmer, Jones, Salmon lay the tackle. Paredes comes up with a footy. No, he doesn't. Now Shannon Rioli comes out to Larson one way, then the other. He's clever. Got the handball away. Whistle's gone. And it's been ruled a throw. So the Tiwi Bombers through Paddy Heenan to clear in the right back pocket.
I think that was done.
Ball comes out to
Owen Henry, is it?
Might be Puruntada Mary, I think.
Back to Dunn.
So from half back, comes up to the wing. Beautiful kick to Cantil. In fact, it's Jeffrey Simon, who was pretty good last week against Nightcliff. Tungatalum in front. Spoil came late, but was pretty effective from Jake Long, the former bomber, son of Michael Long. It goes out of bounds.
It's going to be a pretty good matchup. Tungatalum versus Jake Long. He's just finished off an AFL list, Jake Long, but yeah, and he 1-0 so far to Jake Long. He halved the contest and then turned it into a 50-50, which a 50-50 is a throw-in.
Little push and shove as the players went back to position there between Braden Rioli and Jake Long. Two great names of territory football. Through the legs there. The player was Ferreira. It's going to be a free kick, and it's going to come up. Advantage paid. Payne, key player for the Saints. Long towards full forward. Johnston was there, as was Calder. Michael Dunn. Salmon. Michael Dunn fights on hard. Salmon does well. He's hard and tough. Labastida to Shannon Rioli, 55 from goal. Sets it up in the Calder direction. He's chasing the ball back towards the boundary line. He's got Dunn for company. Kurt Dunn, the superior pace, breaks away, sweeps a handball over the top to Harley Puruntada. He sidesteps around an opponent and drills the kick in towards centre half forward, and they're off again up towards centre half forward on the bounce to Wanamiri. He's shoved off the footy by Tyler Saunders, and the turnover out towards the wing where Ferreira will mark, or drop the mark, but has time to regather. It's about to be dragged down by Simon, gets his kick beautifully to Labastida at right half forward. Henry Labastida. Short lead on, he's just on the bounce. Shannon Rioli first to the footy, sidesteps around Cruz and kicks on goal and kicks the first of the night. Well done by the skipper, the experienced Rioli, and the Saints lead by a goal.
Yeah, well done, Shannon. Well done, Braxton and Matt in the back line. He left his opponent in Alistair Darcy, broke the lines, and then they were able to switch, get the ball to Shannon Rioli, who doesn't usually miss too many goals. But that's what you're there for, Shannon. You're not there to kick points, you're there to kick goals. So very beautiful finisher of the ball. You see, you just crumbs the footy. Bit of a dodge and finish really, really well. And that's what he's there for. And kick 2 or 3, Saints will be in this game.
David Cruz playing on the wing for Tiwi. Seen him in defence most of this year. Paredes, hard body, sweeps one over the top beautifully to Edwards. Back to Smith, back to Edwards, former Giant and Bomber, and Swan. Kicks long towards full forward. Johnston in front. One grab punched away by McClendon. Intercepted by Baird. Molyneux cuts backwards. Tiwi Bombers last line of defence. Back to Molyneux. He's got a couple of yellow jumpers around him. Well played by St Mary's. He fought on pretty well though, and in the end the kick is smothered over the line.
See Jackson Calder starting on a wing, and I'd have him out of the goal square. They've got Johnson out of the goal square. I'd go with Calder out of the goal square, and I'd play Johnson around him. It just looks like they've just changed their matchups. Where Calder lives here, I'd go with him out of the goal square.
Molyneux's getting busy. Had his kick smothered. Good strength from Payne. Smith wanting Edwards. Now finds Edwards. Had his jumper tug, but got his boot to ball. Kicks in towards the forward pocket. And trickles out of bounds about 20 metres around from St Mary's goal. Kicking to the airport end at TIO Stadium. Beautiful night here. Temperature has just eased a little bit after another warm day. Not much rain in this wet season up in the top end this year. But the season and the footy certainly pretty hot. This is the penultimate round of the home and away season. St Mary's second, Tiwi third. Tiwi lose tonight. They give up the double chance for a week at least. Baird comes up with it for the Bombers. High kick back in towards the middle. Spoil over the top by Long. Daly thumping it long in towards full forward. Johnston intercept Farmer. Couldn't take the mark. The crumb comes back to Kurt Dunn of the Tiwi Bombers. And the kick out in the Molyneux direction out towards the wing. Anthony Long comes at it. Molyneux wants to deliver it. I doubt he'll get it. He does it. Boundary throw in centre wing out of side.
Had most of the play, St Mary's so far. So we're 6 minutes in and playing pretty good football.
Adam Parry, I should say, on screen. They're one of 2 St Mary's players to play every game this year. The other one is Jacob Long. Parry, a former Pints player from the Division 1 competition up here. Sporting a new do, Matty Hepworth.
Yeah, it's nice blonde locks there. Very Jason Ackermanis-like.
Got a pretty sharp cut yourself on tonight. No colour in it, but nice short
Oh,
sides.
Short back and sides. Can't lose.
Edwards. He's going to give it up to Ryan Smith, the big ruckman. They share the footy. Kick up towards half forward. Payne to Paredes. Paredes 60 from goal. Turns it over again. Jones.
Struggle with a bit of system going into their forward line at the moment, Saints.
Beautiful kick by Jones. Hits Kurt Dunn on the chest. Almost some trouble here. Dunn needs to get around Riley. Riley Miller, that is, of course. Dunn, heavy bump on him was good. From Calder. Michael Dunn somehow shoved the bigger man off the footy. Calder fights on hard at ground level. Dion Moncara wants the footy to come out. It won't. And will have a boundary throw in.
Sort of funny with that last play. They gave the ball to Dunn gave the ball to Dion Moncara, which is fine. I'd do that every day of the week. But then he had Joseph Salmon, who happens to be St Mary's fastest player, just on his backside. So I agree with giving it to Moncara, but he had a bit of heat on him.
Monagatti to Tangatalam. Ryan Smith falls a human wall across half forward, and he'll send it back inside attacking 50, although free kick's going to come back. Is there any advantage paid? Nope. It's going back to Tyler Saunders against Austin Wanameri. Saunders has it on centre wing.
Work against St Mary's here, because they've now got 18 guys behind the football or inside 50.
Kick comes inside attacking 50. Calder was there, didn't quite get to that contest. Salmon, quick snap. Top of the goal square. McClendon. Oh, beautiful intercept. Quick snap by Calder. And the leading goal scorer for Saints gets the second. They lead by 12 points.
He's done well, Jackson Calder. I reckon he's a bit of a weapon for Saints come finals time. I don't think the other comps really know about him. Actually, my two brothers played with him at Mornington. It's a very, very strong league, and they rate him very, very highly. My brothers don't throw compliments out very, very often, so for him to be throwing compliments around about this guy here, I reckon he can play a little bit. So I reckon just got a feeling he might get under the guard, because sides don't really know who he is. I reckon he's a real weapon for St Mary's come finals. Playing on a wing at the moment, which is would have never played out of any other position except out of the goal square for the Mornington Football Club.
Is he about 6'4", 6'5"?
Yeah, good for this bloke can play.
Harleypur and Tatameri, they need to score, the Bombers. Out comes Tyler Saunders. Little slick handball there, though. The Saints' defence is working overtime, teaming up very strongly. Scooped up by Payne, off to Long. Long to the wing. There is that man Calder, this time beaten for pace by Cruz. Control, kicks it up towards half forward, and I've kicked it off hands and out of bounds.
Good start by Saints. It is remarkable to think nearly 10 minutes gone, though. They've controlled the ball for most of that 9 minutes, and yet only 2 goals. And as you said, Ricky, just something probably not quite gelling in that forward 50 there.
Yeah, not quite. They've been good, Saints. So if I was coming here today, I thought that'd be a hard day at the office. If they got close, it'd be a good effort. But at the moment, they're certainly in a winnable position.
Box seat.
Taken by Davies. Haven't beaten the Bombers this year. 2 losses, once by 14 points, one by 34.
The first game, round 3, was the most unbelievable game of football I'd nearly ever seen.
Superb, wasn't it?
Probably the 50.
Chris Jones will have a shot on goal, you'd think. He'll be man on the mark, will come inside to about the 40, 35, 30, 25. Getting closer all the time.
Depends how generous the umpire sees the 50 metres.
A bandage on Jason Purantatameri's left knee tonight. Hope he's okay. So Jones, key defender for the Bombers. One of their valuable fly-in players from directly in front for their first score of the night at the 11-minute mark. And as so often we see his way to the right-hand side at that end of the ground, the Michael Long centre end of TIO Stadium. Anthony Long will bring the ball back into play for Saints. Great comeback from a couple of knee injuries, wasn't it, Rick? Not just one. He's had.
Yeah, he did a really bad ACL in a grand final about 3 years ago.
Cheek over the top of Tangatalam, then strips him away one-handed, but coming otherwise Molyneux, and Molyneux sends it inside attacking 50. Mark not quite taken to the dangerous Dion Moncara. Has he got enough purchase on the kick? It's swinging and swirling. Well spoiled away over the line though in the last line of defence by Braxton Armat.
Dion Munkara's getting into a bit of form, come into finals. Good sign for Tiwi. Played for South Fremantle Football Club in the Waffle last year.
Jake Long marks in front of Cantilla.
That's where a Saint in Benny Rioli's gone, isn't it?
Yeah, Ben Rioli's there doing pre-season at the moment.
Riley Miller, Tom Davies on the bounce, under pressure. Cantilla did well. Knocked the ball away. Tangatalam. Oh, Monu dived into it, spilt the mark, shrugs the tackle of Edwards. Handball comes out to Dion Munkara. The low kick, a free kick's being paid for a little push. No advantage. Harley Porantatameri wanted to take the ball away, wasn't allowed to. And so a shot on goal for the Tiwi Bombers, but how good was that pass? It was almost too slick, burst through the hands.
Yeah, just you've got to watch their discipline, Saints. Just can't allow that to happen. So
Simon Munkara out there.
It's Simon's first game for quite a while. So I think he's about 36 years of age, but I reckon in his heyday, when he was about 22, 23, he was the best player in the competition for Buffaloes. He was unbelievable, this bloke, and still playing good football now.
Simon Munkara, 45-degree angle, 40 metres out to close the margin to 4 points. 2 straight plays, 2 behinds.
Usually a pretty accurate kick at goal. We'll see how he goes with his old legs.
He's
come back
beautifully. No, not quite. Did the right thing, as we see so many kicks fade away to the right. He set that out to the left, but couldn't bring it round enough.
I think it hit the inside of his arch, so I just don't quite think he dropped it correctly.
Braxton Armat playing at full-back in the Larson direction. Cantilla with a big spoil, only as far as Shannon Rioli. Well done by Larson. Out to Riley Miller from half-back, kicks to half-forward. Out comes Johnston, got a little nudge, spoiled away there by Baird. Sorry, McClendon, I should say. Clinton might come up with it. Baird was involved in that passage of play, but it's going to be a free kick. It's taken by the first gamer there. Rick can tell us a bit about him in a second. Colin Wilson, and a beautiful pass down the throat of Jackson Calder. 16 or 17?
17, I think. I played with his father, actually playing the grand final at St Mary's. So, yeah, just come through their junior system. So, it's usually a pretty good shot at goal, this guy. So.
Got one already tonight. He's equal leading goal scorer for the Saints. 29 coming into this game.
He's working with, he's a carpenter by trade, and he's working with Peter McFarlane at PMAC Construction. So I think Peter would be working him pretty hard.
It's across the face, and it might have hit the behind post out on the full. So from the right back pocket, the Tiwi Bombers will bring the ball back into play. So 21 goals, 22 now this season for Calder. In his 9th game, Leroy Larson has kicked 21 as well.
Calder usually averages around 60 to 70 for Mornington, so that just sort of shows. Wow. That's the second-ranked best comp in Vic country at the moment. So sort of shows the calibre of a footballer that he is. Harley
Porantatameri. Smith had front spot, dropped the mark. Anthony Long handball to Larson. Horrible left foot kick. I don't know, barely covered the distance.
About 3 metres.
Kurt Dunn is the recipient of the mark. Now towards the wing, chopping the arms, I reckon, and the free kick will come to Simon Munkara. Tyler Saunders making it a little tricky for him to get to the footy. So Simon Munkara pokes the kick over the top to Dion Munkara. Sharing the footy. Inside attacking 50. Up goes Alistair Darcy. Fights on at ground level. Bounces up with a footy. Squeezes a handball out. Still comes up with it. What a goal this will be. Darcy throws it on the boot. Dribbles it towards goal. And it's out of bounds.
It's a bit dangerous there, Tiwi.
It's hard to know 15 minutes into the quarter who's got the advantage at the moment.
Ryan Smith coming off for a rest. And Alan Parry will go into the ruck. Usually been playing as a defender most of the year.
I've seen him have a couple of stints in the ruck, which is surprising. Quick snap by Tangatalam. Oh, first goal to the Tiwi Bombers is a delight. Ross Tangatalam with a quick snap. They've had the better of the last few minutes. They're back in the ball game. 3 points behind, 1-3 to 2 straight.
Probably a guy you've got to sit on a little bit more than what St Mary's did then at a stoppage. So just can't give him room because he's an absolute star. So if you give him a metre like that, he's going to hurt you.
I made the call last week that he's better with shots like that than a set shot.
Starting to look, I think we're talking off air. We just look a little bit fitter this year compared to other years, and I think they've got coaches based over the island. They started training a little bit earlier. So there's Andrew Wills, one of the best football brains in the Northern Territory, on the bench there. St Mary's are very lucky to have his services over the last decade.
Monagatti over the much shorter Adam Parry, one of the shorter, if not the shortest ruckman in the comp, I reckon, at Premier Division level. Cheek got the quick kick away, but there's a free kick going to Edwards. And interestingly, before that bounce, Steele Monkara and Edwards are pushing and shoving a bit, and maybe some frustration. Out to Daly from Healesville, Victoria. Kicks the ball up towards left half forward. Jacob Long was there with Kurt Dunn. Out of bounds.
Funny, Healesville Footy Club got a bit of an affiliation with St Mary's. Nick Mendy played a couple of years ago, and Ashraf Davies was their premiership captain at Healesville, and he played for St Mary's as well. So, yeah, there's been a good breeding ground, Healesville Football Club, for the St Mary's Footy Club.
Beautiful part of the world. It's just outside Melbourne.
Peter McFarlane, Raf Clark have also had stints at Healesville as well.
Just on the Bombers and their fitness, Ricky, they came into form and their fitness a lot earlier this year. Traditionally, they're known as a club that work their way up. That first 5 or 6 games, they often lose, and they're really working up their fitness. But they found it a lot earlier this year, probably by about October or November.
100%. They've had more wins before Christmas than they've ever had, I think.
Yep.
So and probably a team that's probably going under the radar a touch as well.
Yeah.
Dion Monkara controls the footy. Alistair Darcy just slid past his nose, comes back to Sean Edwards, picked up cleverly in one hand and threw the boot to ball in towards the middle. Riley Miller, now Heenan, out towards right half forward. Oh, beautifully played. Play on to Babui, hooks the kick around. Is who's his target? On the bounce to Jeffrey Simon. He's got some time to control it. On the left boot is wonderful play by the Bombers.
Very good football. Simon probably the most improved player in the competition, and nearly got to sit on this guy. He is that good. Oh, who's he going to here?
Oh, he's got a man all alone in the goal square.
Bang.
And it's Austin Wanamiri. Well played by Dion Monkara. He spotted Aussie on the goal line with no one around him, and one of the best kicks not only in this competition but in Australia, I reckon. Dion Monkara found his target, and all of a sudden the Bombers are in the lead, 2-3 to 2 straight.
Just fell asleep there, Saints. So yeah, going back to what you were saying, Rob, I think a lot of teams are going under the radar at the moment because Nightcliff are just so dominant. And even thinking of Nightcliff's performance during the week, I thought Tiwi played well, but Nightcliff just found a way to win with an average side on their standards on paper in, and it's just, I think they're a fair bit ahead of the competition at the moment.
But these two are your next best.
Yeah, and then people are under the radar because Nightcliff are just, it's how much they're going to win by.
Yeah.
Alistair Darcy had a stint in the ruck there for Tiwi Bombers. Out to Babui again. We normally see him in defence, so they're mixing it up a bit. Awkward kick for Austin Wanamiri, inside attacking 50. Sean Edwards has been pretty solid, bounces his way across half back. Kicks up towards half forward. Leroy Larson beautifully trapped. Couldn't quite get to the mark, but tapped it to his advantage. The kick comes in towards Johnston, who leads Jones in a merry race for the footy, and got pinpoint delivery. Calder's called for it long. One out with Jason Puruntatameri, called a stretch. Puruntatameri, soccer off the ground, and just missing away to the left-hand side from Paredes.
Paredes copped about 3 or 4 boots in the back there as he hit the turf.
Puruntatameri just limping. Geez, that would be a huge blow if Jason Puruntatameri's not at full fitness coming into the finals. Got the big bandage on the left knee, a little bit of a limp. Molyneux back in the side, wonderful kick. Cruz marks, breaks away, thumps it long, one-on-one. Anthony Long there, wrestling with Babui. Babui did well to hold front spots. Long did well to see it out of bounds.
Yeah, well done, Anthony Long. Just half the contest. We're back. St Mary's are back into a 50-50 now.
Big wins today for Nightcliff and also Southern Districts. And they're not out of a top 3 spot either if results go their way.
Yeah, and their list isn't that bad either. They've got the Garlett as well, hasn't played real well. Imagine if he got firing.
Yeah.
It's Payne. Jason Puruntatameri. Handball as he was being swung around. Jackson Payne. Oh, bad kick.
You don't want to turn it over to this bloke, do you?
Jungatulum controls the footy. Well done by Davies, but now Tungatulum accelerates away from Salmon and then buries the pass, not quite. Coming out well was Tyler Saunders, spoiled it away from Wanamiri. Wanamiri fights on at ground level, so does Saunders. Numbers there favouring the Saints. Jake Long kicks in the Salmon direction. Jones got to it, spoils it away, and Tungatulum can't quite trap it before it goes out of bounds.
Going back to that last, Tungatulum, it was a 4v1, he turned them all inside out. Like Saints, all they had to do was halve it, they were away there, but he's just too good. He had Salmon on him, who's got a bit of speed, and he was just too elusive.
Parry and Darcy. Darcy did well to come around and use his height to advantage, but only as far as Salmon. Edwards. Awkward bounce for Cruz. Shannon Rioli did well. Slip got the handball to Leroy Larson. Back to Jackson Payne. Molyneux later tackle, but it was too late. Up towards full floor, towards half forward, I should say. Good spoil away. Rioli fights on hard. Baird lays a very strong tackle. And the umpire said high. So Shannon Rioli's desperation comes to the fore, and he wins it at right half forward. He kicks it inside attacking 50. Here's the sit for Calder. Running back with the flight. Running into him was Kurt Dunn. But Calder had the best position. He thought about playing on, but he's going to go back on a worse than 45-degree angle from about 30 out for his second of the night.
Well done, Shannon Rioli. Get it to Jackson in a one-on-one. He's fairly good above his head. He's actually, Jackson Calder's broken a bone in his hand twice this year. So he's been playing under duress nearly the whole season. So looks like he's got it right. And we'll see how he goes at the busy end of the year.
Just kicked across the face. So Saints kicked the first 2 goals of the night. Tiwi have responded with the last 2. And it's now a 1-point ball game, 2-3 to 2-2. Dion Mankara is going to do the kicking in.
Oh, I was going to say, Saints have got a man the mark there.
But it's quarter time. A short quarter with only 4 goals kicked between the two sides. Second playing third, and the margin indicates that. 1-point lead to the Bombers.
You are one of almost 140,000 people living in an area at risk of being affected by a cyclone this wet season. In your cyclone kit, you will need a battery-operated radio and torch with spare batteries, enough food and at least 10 litres of water per person to sustain you and your family for 72 hours or more. Remember, all important documentation such as passports, photos and insurance policies should be kept in a safe and waterproof place. Be prepared this wet season. Brought to you by TIO.
Oh, yeah! Gee, she got a good leg on her, eh? What a show-off.
Did you see my goal?
Hey.
I thought I played a deadly game.
You should be ashamed of yourself and showing off and asking for all that attention. And looking like that.
You can do something to change the ending.
Did you see my goal?
Hey.
I thought I played a deadly game.
What? You should be ashamed of yourself and showing off and asking for all that attention. And looking like that.
Is this your right? You want to come over to the club with us?
What? You're not going anywhere. You're coming with me.
Oh, come on, Bruss. What are you going on about? Look what you're wearing. It's the same thing. We're going, having a chat.
You can change how it plays out.
Hey, bro, you're all right or what? Come on, man. Let's go have a chat. Gotta be better, man. What's going on?
Do something to change the ending. It's everyone's responsibility to prevent violence.
So we can feel forever, yeah, feel together, real together. No one can stop. No one can stop. Nothing can ever bring me down.
Mother Nature can be frighteningly predictable in the Territory this time of year. Heavy rains and damaging winds can cause significant problems and disruption, particularly if you're unprepared, while downed power lines and flash flooding can be lethal. To ensure you're ready, visit powerwater.com.au/safety or text SAFETY to 0428 323 991 for more information. Because staying safe and ready around Mother Nature should be second nature.
CFS Schoolwear is the perfect choice for quality custom-made school uniforms. Ideal clothing for all school-related activities, whether it's 50 or 500 students, we have what you need. Contact the Cricket and Football Shop NT for your free CFS Schoolwear quote today.
Let's see. Roma, Verona?
Perhaps Barcelona.
Make your dream holiday a reality. Book your next getaway at Flight Centre with interest-free holidays and flexible repayment options.
Best in the air.
And everywhere.
Flight Centre.
Intersport, new concept store now open in Casuarina Square. Come in and check out a world-class shopping experience.
Dedicated sports zones.
Now stocking only the biggest brands in tennis, cricket, fitness from treadmills to benches, boxing, swimming, darts, pool and table tennis. For awesome service and advice, still locally owned and operated, the all-new Intersport concept store.
Now open at Casuarina Square.
We're here for when the heavens open and the winds howl. We're here for when the water just won't stop. We're here for the wet and we're here for the dry. We're here because we know there's nowhere else you'd rather be.
And there's nowhere else we'd rather be either. TIO Home Insurance. We're for Territorians.
Welcome back to TIO Stadium, where it's quarter time. A low-scoring quarter, but a tight contest with the Tiwi Bombers 2-3-15, St Mary's 2-2-14. Matt Hepworth, Ricky Nolan and Rob Cross with you this evening. Gentlemen, hard to really find a winner in that quarter, Ricky.
Yeah, if you want to break it up, first 10 minutes, I think St Mary's were easily at control of the game. And I reckon the next 10 minutes was Tiwi. Saints had their moments in the last 2 minutes, probably into red time, but yeah, it's probably 50-50, St Mary's for the first 10 minutes and then Tiwi for the nearly the rest of the quarter. So. Interesting, St Mary's, their midfield's not too bad. You've got Sean Edwards, ex-AFL, Payne, ex-AFL, with Paredes, a three-time St Mary's best and fairest winner. So it's a decent midfield.
Haven't seen Payne play too much in there, have we, Rick?
No, he has actually for Saints, and he's been going really well the last couple of years. He's played very well, good football in there actually for Saints.
Edwards, Smith, just slipped off his hand. Cruises in there. Heenan sends the Bombers forward. Out comes Darcy in front. Whistle's gone. A hold has been paid. It's going to Tungatulum, causing Jake Long, the experienced, well, not experienced, he didn't play a lot of games, but certainly has played at AFL level. But Tungatulum's causing him some issues.
Just a quick centre break from Tiwi, and it just puts the defenders under a bit of pressure. But the man on screen now, I think he's looking a bit scary for finals time. He used to eat these. We talked about him not being a good set shot at goal, but he used to eat these in his day. Let's see if he's getting back into form.
He's hooked it a little bit, and he's hit the post. No, he spat that one out, Rick. Braxton Armat brings the ball back into play for St Mary's. Joseph Salmon, lovely kick. 21-22. Where's Payne? Let's keep the sequence going. Down the wing, Leroy Larson.
He's done well there, Leroy. That was an average kick, and he's made it look good.
Paredes, Labastida. It's a nice transition. Johnston reaching over the top was Calder. It goes out of bounds. Right forward pocket for St Mary's. Opening couple of minutes of the second term at TIO Stadium, round 17. The 2019-20 TIO NTFL season. Tiwi Bombers 2-4, St Mary's 2-2.
Good ball movement by St Mary's. I think Tiwi, they've just got to tighten up a bit, not allow St Mary's to take it end to end so easily.
Two big men in the ruck contest, Smith and Monagatti. Smith is going to be penalised for pushing Monagatti out.
Umpires, just let them go. Let the two big boys go at it.
Monagatti's big man teammate from last week, Lachlan Howe, played in Div 1 we're hearing today, which will be a qualification game, so it brings him up to 5 games for the season. Needs one more. Farmer just got a little nudge from Rioli as the kick off the boot. Stays in the field of play. Jones spoiled away well by Edwards.
Jones another big pickup. He's a Box Hill Premiership player and made the VFL Team of the Year in 2017. So he's got a fair football resume and that should come in handy come finals time.
Missing Adam Tippingwoody tonight, the Bombers. So lacking a bit of zip. Smith did well. Down to Payne, got pushed off the footy. Monagatti cleared a path for Heenan. And Harley Purantatameri couldn't get the ball in play. So another boundary throw in at left half forward for the Saints.
Ashley Hams is another player not playing. I've heard he's got a grade 2 quad, so he'll be right around the first game of finals, I've been told.
So like it was in the first quarter, slightly slow start to the term. Smith, good tap straight to Edwards, but his kick only went as far as David Cruz. His kick is out towards the wing. Simon Munkara there with Saunders. Munkara, pretty good effort, couldn't complete the mark, and it goes out of bounds on the wing. Ferreira coming on. Replacing Jacob Long, one of 2 Saints players who have played every game this year. Smith, big body into Cruz, smack of ball on body, smother. Daly, weaves his way through and sends the handball out in the Salmon direction, a bit too slick for him. Came to Dunn, comes to Wanamiri. Harley Purantatameri sidesteps around Jake Long and he kicks up towards half forward. Braden Rioli, front spot. Was he taken down without the footy? Davies was there, hanging on to him. Play on the call, and Davies comes through and grabs it and puts it on the boot. Kicks to the wing. Heenan in front. Larson, though, reads it best from behind. Traps it. Sends it back inboard. Sits up a little bit. The mark is taken there by the first gamer in Colin Wilson. His kick out towards half forward. Out came Calder. Pushed away by Baird. Paredes. Now McClendon switches play to the Morris Rioli grandstand side with Matthew Cantilla marks. Dion Munkara. Steady, patient build-up by the Bombers. Chris Jones can go back to Munkara. Oh, watch out. Sold him straight into a Leroy Larson bump. He's down hurt. Edwards comes up with the footy. Clever play. Didn't go to the goal score. Went to the open side where Calder lurks from 20 metres on the run. Calder has missed. Just squeeze it through for a behind.
You've got to hurt Tiwi. When you turn the footy out there, Jackson Calder's just got to, then you've got momentum and you're away. He's just got to kick those goals.
2-4 to 2-3.
Leroy puts a big bump on him and you're up and about.
Still down in the hands of the trainers is Dion Munkara. Beautiful kick around the corner by Edwards. Smith dropped the mark. Pressured out of it by Dunn. He hacks the kick back into the middle of TIO Stadium. Tom Davies. Taken down, a wonderful tackle by Munkara. He just got enough hand on to claim a legal handball. Darcy, Molyneux, Salmon came at him. Molyneux was tackled but gets his kick ricocheting back off to Munkara. He shrugs a tackle back to Molyneux. It's heated in the middle. Well done by Cheek. Comes to Tyler Saunders, and St Mary's win the day with some brutal footy across half back. Out it comes to Paredes. Has a bounce, runs to 70, switches it back in towards Salmon. Well done by Rioli. Couldn't quite get there. Salmon took a fine mark at centre half forward as Dion Munkara is assisted from the ground here at TIO Stadium. And let's hope he's just been winded and nothing more serious, as a short kick over the top has opened the door for a goal for Paredes directly in front from 35.
I reckon Saints, there's 50. Patrick Heenan has gone through the mark.
Munkara, sorry, he's struggling to put any weight on that foot there.
Yeah, but where I reckon Saints blew an opportunity is, they're doing it now, is like the best player for Tiwi is going off the ground now. You kick a goal, you're up and about, you go and getting Munkara's face, you're getting Tiwi's face, and bang, you've got momentum. The same momentum's not quite there now, but Tiwi would be looking and saying, oh, we've just lost our best player, and Saints have kicked a goal. So
and he's going off into the room.
There's just not enough energy from Saints. Leroy has gone through their best player. He's gone off the ground and they've just kicked a goal. I'd like to see a bit more energy from Saints. They're playing good footy.
Well, it's a huge blow for Tiwi Bombers because they've lost their hold on a top 3 spot last night with the win of the Darwin Buffaloes over Waratah. Now their best player's gone off the ground only 5 minutes into the second quarter. A win tonight would have put them back into 3rd spot with just a game to play in a game next week against Wanderers they'd be expected to win, whereas the Buffs have got to beat St Mary's. There's Cheek. Kicks the ball in the Shannon Rioli direction. Dunn comes from behind, spoils away. In fact, it was Ferreira, not Rioli. Now Rioli comes in and bumps. Clever by Ferreira. The side boot to Payne, and Payne misses to the left-hand side.
It's hard to think that Tiwi, you'd think's had a pretty good year, and probably a better year than they have for a while, battling to get that third spot. Like it all could, they say a week's a long time in football. It could all, they lose this game today, and they're in a world of hurt.
Jason Purantatameri's kick. Darcy drops the chest mark. Ferreira lays the tackle. Smother was good. Clever by Darcy. The look away handball. Baird. Dunn. Harley. Purantatameri. Away go the Tiwi Bombers. Ferreira. Valiant chase. Purantatameri's kick's wonderful to Tungatullen, who he was half off. Davies just corralled him closer to the boundary line. Steps back inside. Now he's called to play in. What's he got, Ross?
Well done,
he's got
Tom
a
Davies.
short pass and he finds Cantilla on the chest.
He's worked the mark very well, Tom Davies, then.
He's forced him out towards the boundary line and still 50 from goal. Lead comes from Babui into the pocket. Jake Long's got that covered. From 51, Matthew Cantilla sets it up. Braden Rioli has it spoiled away by a bigger opponent there in Braxton Armat, and it's rushed through for a behind.
Not the greatest kick of all time. I reckon you've got to know your ability. Like, if you can't make the distance, put it to the top of the square, because it's just that there is too easy to defend. Braxton Armat puts it through. Bang, they're now with a kick out, and they'll clear the ball easy. It's just too easy to defend.
Gains 90 metres and finds Smith, who dropped the mark. A little bit of pressure came from Alistair Darcy, who does well to fight on at ground level. Back to Cantilla. He tried to shrug the tackle of Leroy Larson. Comes up to Jacob Long, sells the candy, kicks it back inside the centre square where it's all St Mary's. Paredes has a bounce. Molyneux runs hard at him. He was taken down. No free kick. Calder comes up with it at half forward, still in the Saints' grasp. He pokes a kick back to Paredes. He can play on, get away from Heenan from 50 metres. Nate Paredes, long ball to the square. Jason Purantatameri is happy to step back over the line and rush her behind. Exciting passage of play. He's been told to come back and kick it out of the goal square. Not allowed to play on.
I didn't think you had to anymore. But
No, that must have been something different, because you're right, Ricky, you don't. That must have been something else went on there.
Tungatullen marks inside defensive 50 from the kick out. Has a bounce and then drives long to a one-on-one contest. Babui in front to the back of the pack. Cantilla, he doesn't mind this. Great pace from Jake Long, though. Takes him off the footy. Back to Jake Long. Shepherd came from Anthony Long. Long kick up towards the wing. Done. In fact, it was Baird, I should say. Sweeps in the direction of Cheek. Now Darcy. Now Sean Edwards for St Mary's. Runs straight into a big tackle by Jeffrey Simon, who wants to go on with it with Sean Edwards. A little bit of a wrestle, a couple of Bombers hovering over the top. Don't do anything silly.
It's good umpiring. They were both in that. Both sides trying to milk a free kick.
Jeffrey Simon. So Xavier Grant offering something close to the boundary line. He ignores that. Simon's kick, looking for Cantilla. Anthony Long does well to grab front position. And it's either a mark or a free kick at left half back. Crowd warming to this match. 3-5 plays 2-5. Dion Moncara off the ground with what looks like a left ankle injury.
I reckon Saints have got a good moment just to take control of this game. It's where leaders, Shannon Rioli, Paredes, Jake Long, Sean Edwards, take the game by the scruff of the neck and get a couple of goals up here. Dion Moncara's off the field. He got momentum. Yeah, you just got to put the pedal to the metal.
Cruz Long. Anthony Long off hands and out of bounds at right half forward for the Bombers. Low scoring game. Nothing like the one we saw in round 3, which was 20 goals to 17. This is just 3 goals to 2. 11 minutes gone into the second quarter at TIO Stadium. Second place Saints up against third place Tiwi Bombers. Who's good enough to take on Nightcliff? Monagatti over the back of the pack. Kurt Dunn. Jake Long's high kick back in towards the centre. Labastida sits under it. Jones came over the top. Labastida mops up. Dunn for the Tiwi Bombers. Baird back to Calder. Handball wanting a teammate. He eventually finds one. Paredes sweeps it to Shannon Rioli. Goes left, goes right, back onto the right boot, and then hooks the kick around to a one-on-one contest at the top of the goal square. Whistles go on a hold. Payne goes against Payne.
Oh.
Jason Purantadameri brings the ball back out to the Morris Rioli grandstand side. Only as far as Paredes, though. Stepped around Xavier Grant from 51 metres. Pokes the little kick. Still a chance. Salmon back to Paredes. Bending it. Not enough. One behind only.
Paredes starting to get a bit of the footy. I reckon he's had a bit of a lacklustre month on his standards, but his standards are extremely high. But a good sign that he's starting to find the football. They can't allow Tiwi to play on like that, Saints. Look, they've just gained 40 metres. Where's the full forward? Is he going to put pressure on?
Harley Purantadameri run 70 metres from goal.
Wow.
Found Kurt Dunn. Oh, kick is smothered. Larson. Heenan clever back through the legs. Well done by Larson, though, just to maintain a contest. Monagatti taken off footy. Larson superb. Riley Miller taken to ground. Harley Purantadameri up against Rioli, shoved him out of the way, Rioli, and he wins a free kick for over the... No, he's given a free kick the other way. And Harley Purantadameri comes up with it. He's doing everything he can to will his side back into the contest. They're only down by 7 points, but in general play it seems all Saints, and it could break open at any moment. Kick on the left boot towards half forward, Simon Munkara, Paddy Heenan. Saints get numbers back. Larson, tap back inboard. Jeffrey Simon tried to be a little too cute maybe with his boots rather than pick up the footy, and Edwards breaks away across centre half back.
He had to bodyline the footy there, and he didn't.
Over to Anthony Long, out towards the wing. Joseph Salmon.
Who's going to keep their feet here? Who's going to keep their feet?
Farmer comes at him, brings him to ground, and holding the footy. Well played by Farmer.
I love watching one-on-ones like that to see who wins the contest.
Farmer looking inboard. He's 80 from goal, right half forward. Goes the torpedo, doesn't come off on the bounce. Tyler Saunders comes out. Wanamiri has him. Lots of yellow jumpers though. Braxton Armat to Paredes. Out towards the wing. Johnston on a long lead. Out in front of McClendon. He's got 5 metres. The boundary closing. Johnston scoops it up. He probably doesn't mind the boundary here and hides it pretty well. It goes out of bounds, out of side. It's a 7-point lead to Saints in a low-scoring game at TIO Stadium. It's so much riding on it, especially for the Bombers.
Well, Rob, you asked the question before, you know, who can beat St Mary's, and that's what who can beat Nightcliff, and that's really what this game is asking. Last week, Tiwi Bombers did it for 3 quarters, but couldn't hold on all the way. Saints have beaten Nightcliff once this year, but last time they met about 2 or 3 weeks ago, Saints had a real lacklustre effort.
Molyneux, brilliant. Barged his way through the pack, kicks towards full forward. Simon Munkara in front. Good one-on-one contest. Munkara still fighting on. Can he flip it out? He can. Back to Molyneux. Steps around Tyler Saunders. No, he doesn't. Spills the footy. Jake Long comes up with it and kicks in the Braxton Armat direction. Does well. They clear defensive 50. Knight's pass to Paredes. They're working well down that outer side from the back pocket tonight, Saints. Kick not great though on the bounce to Johnston. Set him a task against McClendon. Paredes comes to lend assistance though. Paredes comes up with a footy. Kicks to the edge of attacking 50. Over the top goes Jones. Can't bring down the mark. Xavier Grant mops up. He squeezes a handball through. Finds Jones. Jones has got a bit of time to give it back to Grant. From left half back. Kicks up towards the wing. Front spot Harley Purantadameri. Spoiled away by Cheek towards the boundary line. Kurt Dunn comes up with a footy. Gives it back to Alistair Darcy. Has some time to do something useful. Kicks up towards half forward. Wanamiri in front. Pushed up the footy by Tyler Saunders. Good one-on-one contest. Oh, big tackle there on Long. And should be a free kick for a high shot. In fact, it's going back to Saunders, is it? And Cheek marks a little further down the line at right half back. Low kick on the bounce wasn't great. Time to scoop it up. Some big tackling across half back. Still St Mary's go forward now through Edwards. Cheek intercepted by Tungatulum. Steps around. Oh, Parry got a hand in, knocked it out of his grasp. Tungatulum has a bounce. Runs inside 50. On his left. Steps around. Kick a goal. Roscoe from 35. Doesn't make great contact.
Too far.
And it's got to come back to a St Mary's free kick for running too far inside of defensive 50.
Geez, exciting when he gets the ball.
Anthony Long to Davies, to Tyler Saunders at left half back just inside defensive 50. Morris Rioli grandstand side of TIO Stadium. Neat short pass to Cheek. It was Daly. Cheek's left footer on the bounce to Larson. Jackson Payne's had a good game. Scoops it up, dishes off to Jake Long, the former Bomber. Kicks up towards left forward pocket. Out comes Calder, stretches, has a couple of grabs at it, can't bring down the mark. Cruz through his fingertips, Babui, Cruz sliding by, soccering off the ground there was Jacob Long. Ferreira tries to do similar. Jacob Long back to Salmon. Salmon slips a beautiful handball out to Payne from 51 metres, just goes bang! Oh, brilliant goal by Payne, and there's some pain for the Tiwi Bombers because they were holding St Mary's, but Jackson Payne with a wonderful drop punt straight from the coaching manual has pushed it out to a 13-point lead.
Yeah, I think this bloke's a gun. He's hardly played a bad game for Saints. He's been terrific. So we're beating Nycliffe. I think Saints can do it. Jared Waite, I reckon they need Waite and Geary. Waite will play next week, I believe, to play his 6 games. And I spoke to Jackson Geary during the week. He had a plate inserted into his arm. He'll have plaster on it for 2 weeks, and his plan is to play in the first, if not the second final. So he hasn't given up on the year. Apparently when a plate goes into the arm, it will strengthen it, and he'll get the plaster off in 2 weeks' time, 2 weeks from Monday, and he's got all intentions of continuing to play for St Mary's Football Club. First week of the finals, if not the second week of the finals. So they get him and they get Jared Waite firing. I think it is possible that they could beat the Nycliffe Football Club.
Yeah. Viewers, listeners out there, any medical questions? Dr. Ricky. Payne again. Inside the centre square. Doesn't kick that one quite as well. Dunn gets there first for the Bombers. The right half-forward flank, about 45 metres from St Mary's goal. Players pile in, will have a ball up. Just the game slipping away from the Bombers. On the scoreboard, they're still in it.
Important couple of minutes for Saints. I reckon they can get one here.
Colin Wilson, the first gamer, lays a tackle. Kurt Dunn coming the other way with Shannon Rioli. Heenan just had to sit and wait under it, and it goes out of bounds again at right half forward for Saints.
Getting back onto Jackson Payne, I always used to say to Flyings, if you're not in our best 5 players, we're not wasting our money for you to come up. And I reckon he's in their best 5, and to put heat on him. We're not cooking barbecues at Bunnings to bring you up here for lacklustre efforts. And he's been terrific. He's in their best 5 players every week.
Perides, wonderful kick, not quite enough carry on it to Edwards. Under pressure, Xavier Grant gave it back to Farmer. They're under immense pressure, the Bombers, and the hack kick out towards the wing. Cruz gets to it first. No, he can't. The boundary line beats him. 20 minutes played.
Yeah, a bit of a lull at the moment. It's a few stoppages in a row, and ball not quite moving as quick as it was.
Monagatti was brilliant last week in concert with Lachlan Howe in the ruck. They seem to lift a little bit. Darcy, Salmon overruns the footy. Anthony Long goes down. Riley Miller back to Smith, back to Miller. Pinched by Heenan. Scooped up superbly by Braden Rioli, but he's slung. And advantage paid comes to Shannon Rioli. Here they go again. The kick up towards the goal square. In front was Johnston. Spoiled away over the back there by McClendon. Larson, Johnston. Larson worked his way to the front spot. Sean Edwards comes up with a footy. Cantilla comes at him. Handball back to Salmon. He's taken down in a strong tackle there. White holding the footy. I'm not sure they're going to get it. They are.
That was an outstanding tackle. Who was that? Jason Puntana. They just went low in the tackle. Very well done.
Kick over the top to Dunn. Desperate effort to smother. Oh, brilliant trap by Tunga Tullum. Turns Jake Long inside out and then drills the pass down to Cruz, who drops the mark. And thrown to the ground by Jacob Long. Turnover. Braxton Armat kicks, and it's all St Mary's out at half forward. On the bounce to Edwards. Can poke a little handball over the top here to Wilson. He lopes to 60. Colin Wilson, the first gamer, steps around Grant. Kicks long towards full forward. Johnston from behind. Couldn't bring down the mark. Still going at ground level low. Big Johnston scoops up the footy. Tries the don't argue. Comes to Paredes. Quick snap from 30. St Mary's don't quite get another goal. It's across the face. And that would have been a cruel blow to the Bombers. They're struggling. They're just hanging on. The margin 14 points, but it feels like a 30-point ball game. The siren couldn't come soon enough for half-time. It's 4-7 to 2-5. Saints lead the Bombers.
You are one of almost 140,000 people living in an area at risk of being affected by a cyclone this wet season. In your cyclone kit, you will need a battery-operated radio and torch with spare batteries, enough food and at least 10 litres of water per person to sustain you and your family for 72 hours or more. Remember, all important documentation such as passports, photos and insurance policies should be kept in a safe and waterproof place. Be prepared this wet season. Brought to you by TIO.
Wow, what a deadly player. Gee, she got a leg on her, eh? What a show-off.
Look at the goal at the end.
Hey, babe.
Hey, girls.
You right?
Hey, we're just talking about...
You're loving all this attention. Who are you trying to impress?
What do you mean?
You know exactly what I mean.
I'm not trying to do anything.
You can do something to change the ending.
Wow, what a deadly player. Gee, she got a leg on her, eh? What a show-off.
Yeah, isn't that a part of the game?
Yeah, come on, bro. You should be proud of her. She's a deadly player.
Pretty good at it. Unbelievable game. Unbelievable.
Hey, babe.
Hey, what up?
Did you see my goal?
Oh, it was deadly.
Yeah.
It was amazing.
Yeah, I thought it was pretty sick. I couldn't believe I got it.
Do something to change the ending. You can change how it plays out. It's everyone's responsibility to prevent violence.
Absolutely zero.
Zero.
Yeah, definitely.
It has to be zero.
Yes.
Yep.
Absolutely.
I don't think that's asking too much.
Kilonewton centrifugal force, infrared remote control.
How does he do it?
24.5 kilowatt diesel motor.
He doesn't just know how to operate every piece of Kennard's high gear we get in, but also its service details, its safety checks.
I know. It's as if he can hypnotise each piece.
Give me 2 passes with sauce. Coffee white with 1, bun with icing. No, pink icing.
Yep, no worries, Terry.
Time to escape, cause I'm in need of warmer weather. Sail upon the stream to find there's someplace better. And I'm going far and wide.
Great Northern Brewing Co., the beer from up here.
Looking for the best and brightest to join your team? At Quality People, we specialise in finding quality, hard-to-get professionals, and we have an office right here in Darwin. Kick your recruitment goals with Quality People. qualitypeople.com.au.
Now that's quality.
On Territory roads, anything can happen. So you need to drive to the conditions. Speeding can get you into all sorts of trouble. Dirt roads aren't just dusty. When it's hard to see, they're dangerous. At water crossings, remember, you're driving a motor car, not a boat. High water can be deep trouble.
We're here for when the heavens open and the winds howl. We're here for when the water just won't stop. We're here for the wet, and we're here for the dry. We're here because we know there's nowhere else you'd rather be.
And there's nowhere else we'd rather be either. TIO Home Insurance. We're for Territorians.
Choosing a health fund can be tricky. Some are too big, too small, or just not right at all. But with Territory Health Fund, you can make sure your cover is the right fit.
Gee, she got a good leg on her, right?
What a show off.
Did you see my goal? I thought I played a deadly game.
What? You should be ashamed of yourself, showing off and asking for all that attention. You're not going anywhere but home.
Now everybody's blaming me for what happened. Like I'm responsible for him treating me like crap.
You can do something to change the ending.
One moment, Auntie. Hey, sis. I've got Auntie Shirley on the phone. She's going to help us work this out together. She's talking to his uncle too. It's going to be all right because we're all here for you.
Yeah, we'll sort it out.
Hey.
Do something to change the ending. You can change how it plays out. It's everyone's responsibility to prevent violence.
The NTFL clubs and umpires would like to share the following events and messages and thank their sponsors.
Getting my hands on the footy and just being with my mates.
I like being outdoors. It just makes me happy. I don't like it when I get yelled at.
It's pretty embarrassing when someone's shouting at you halfway through the game.
It makes me feel like I'm useless and I can't do anything.
We're just kids.
We're just here to have fun.
Let us do what we love.
Just let kids be kids.
Wedding or birthdays coming up? Maybe a get-together with friends and family. Waratah Clubhouse at Gardens Oval is the perfect venue for your next community function. Celebrate in the home to one of Darwin's iconic football clubs, Waratah Clubhouse.
For more information, please visit the relevant club or umpire's Facebook page.
Welcome back to TIO Stadium, where it's half-time in an almost top-of-the-table clash with the Tiwi Bombers 2-5-17. Trailing St Mary's 4-7-31, Matt Hepworth, Rob Cross and Ricky Nolan. And, well, gentlemen, it was Saints that managed to break away a bit in that second quarter there, and just we're looking at a replay from into earlier within the match. It was like, when Munkara went down, I believe it was.
Just having a look at that. Not that I'm a physiotherapist, but it looked like a hyper-extension of his knee. Might have been the medial. Hopefully it's the medial, not the ACL. So a strain of a medial, maybe 3 weeks.
It's hyper painful
at
is
a
what
best
it was.
situation. 6 is about the normal one. But yeah, it looks like he's hyper extended his knee, and hopefully he hasn't hurt the medial ligament. So hasn't come out from the bench, I don't think, either. So it's not a good sign.
It's a bit. Our position is a bit awkward to see, but I'm not sure they've got. I can only see really 2 on the bench.
Watching. I don't think he's come out.
I think there might be a couple down. In fact, we'll keep an eye on that for the Bombers. As it stands, they've lost 3rd spot on the table, with the Buffaloes last night having a big win over Waratah.
Who at Tiwi got next week?
They've got Wanderers. You'd expect them to win that,
yeah.
But you never know. Wanderers' last game for the year. Wanderers started the season pretty well. You might remember, I think they drew with Southern Districts out at Fred's Pass, so they're capable. Underway in the 3rd quarter. What have the Bombers got? High kick, Salmon and Cantilla. Salmon reached over the top and spoiled it away. Good bump there on Molyneux, but he comes up and keeps chasing the ball. Now he's lost and it comes to Smith, who just wants the boundary. Little soccer off the ground by Paredes. Came to Payne. Whistle's gone. Ryan Smith's down in back play. A push has been paid, and it's going St Mary's way to Paredes. Smith's thumping his fist into the turf in frustration. I think he's hurt badly, Ricky. Keep an eye on big Ryan Smith. That'll be a huge blow for St Mary's. He's now up onto his haunches.
Now,
barely.
Like the Terminator.
Perfect kick to Jackson Payne from Paredes. In front of Molyneux. He's limping off as well. Just the way he's thumping the turf, Rick, indicated that he's got concerns. Edwards. Wonderful kick by Edwards to Labastida. It's almost a look-away kick. Kick towards the goal square, I thought. Instead, he went closer to the boundary line, about a metre off the ground, all the way 30 metres straight between the eyes of Labastida.
Henry Labastida come out of retirement this year to get life membership at the St Mary's Footy Club. He played in the Premiership in the Div 2 last year, but was very keen to become a life member, and well deserved as well.
For a 20-point lead, Labastida's kick swinging across the face of goal off hands and through for a behind. So we'll keep an eye on Ryan Smith, who gingerly goes down onto his stomach to get some work done. It looks like he's back, Rick.
That's where the trainers are working at the moment, yeah.
Stretching low to mark was Baird. Kicks out in the Jeffrey Simon direction, who hasn't had a great impact tonight. Harley Purantata Mary desperately tried to keep it in the field of play and couldn't do so. Boundary throw in.
We were just talking, weren't we, at the break, Tiwi, with Tip and Woody, one of their best players, and you got Munkar, and then the ruckman, who, what was his name?
Lachlan Howe.
Lachlan Howe, who played for Tracy Village in the Div 1 today to qualify. So probably their 3 best players last week not playing today. So we're talking about this, they just not having the run and carry, but no wonder you've got players of that calibre not playing.
Yeah, take out 3 key players, and you know they were in a team last week that put it up to Nightcliff for 3 quarters. Today, instead of weeks a long time in footy, Ricky, it's a very different side to what we saw last week. Still not out of the competition in tonight's game by any means.
Can still win this game.
Yeah.
And even if they lose, they're only 4th by percentage, with the Buffs having a much tougher task next week coming up against St Mary's at Gardens, which should be terrific. We're calling that game.
I believe Jared Waite is playing for St Mary's as well, so they'll have a decent side in, you'd think, Saints.
And I reckon the Buffaloes have got a bit of a worry with Daniel Stafford, who seemed to have some more hamstring troubles last night. You'd think Jared Stokes would come back into that side, which will help. But this is a key game right in front of us at the moment, and an advantage paid to Heenan, and he thumps it inside attacking 50. Darcy breaks away from parry and marks on his chest, 30 out. Oh, they'd love this goal.
Yeah, they need it. No, they just broke from that clearance, spread well, and if the forwards are in front, they're always a chance. Been a defender all his life, but moved forward this year, Darcy. He's been playing pretty well.
Look up how many goals he scored, Rick. I think he's scored a lot of goals. He gives them a target, though, and brings it to ground, competes well. And he's kicked a wonderful goal. Very handy for the Bombers. They're back to within 8 points at the 3.5-minute mark of the third quarter. Low-scoring contest, 4-7 to 3-5.
Yeah, sometimes you just get a new lease of life, don't you, if you've played in one position the whole time, and then you go, just see this break here. Mullenhook, that's outstanding, just getting the ball forward. Well done by Paddy Heenan with an inside 50, and that's a great kick. Parry just got to watch his starting points there. Yeah, Mullenhook is from the Greensborough Football Club of the Northern Footy League. He's one of the gun-on ballers. It's a pretty good competition. So he's a good pick-up for Tiwi. Looks like he's going to qualify for finals as well. Here he is now.
Cantilla couldn't grab it. Sean Edwards, almost BOG, I think. Kicks in towards the pocket. Out comes Johnston. McClendon there for company. Johnston falls over. McClendon throws the ball into his boot. Look away, kick straight down the throat of Sean Edwards, who pokes in the Shannon Rioli direction, who marks in front of Jones and got a little bump from Heenan. Not much in it, but not really necessary. And risked conceding 50.
In his day, Shannon, which his day, he's not that old, his day's not over, but yeah, you'd think he'd still have 5 years of football left in him, so he's probably in his peak now, but the distance wouldn't be an issue for him.
Joined us in the commentary box while you were away, Rick, a few weeks ago, and a very lovely person and expert commentator, did a great job.
Yeah.
From 50 metres, he's not quite sure, so he pokes a kick in towards the pocket. Payne stretched up to the back of the pack, and Farmer switches play to the outer side, sets Jeffrey Simon a task, who's up to it, takes a wonderful mark.
That's an outstanding contest. Well done to that young fella.
He can play. They need a bit more out of him, but he started this third quarter a little better than he played the first half. Drills the pass to Molyneux, offered a lead in between a couple of Saints players. Molyneux's kicks down the wing is pretty good to Babui. Here they go again, the Bombers. And they get the second in a couple of minutes. On the bounce, Darcy, clever, tapped to Wanamiri, cuts through, shrugs the tackle, gives to Tangatulum. Oh, he tried to take on the tackles instead of throwing the ball to boot. And St Mary's through Anthony Long come up with a footy. Maybe the quick snap might have been on, Rick.
St Mary's defended that well. They really got numbers back to help out there. It was really well done.
Tangatulum got away from Salmon, and the little pass was excellent. So they will get a chance through Dion Munkara from 30 metres out, 45-degree angle.
Again, love watching the one-on-ones, Salmon and Tangatulum. And Salmon probably just got to hit the gym and get a bit stronger through that core. Because I know Tangatulum's a gun, but just brought the ball to ground and gave it to one of the greatest Tiwi Island players of all time in Simon Munkara.
For a 3-point ball game, he brings it back, not enough. It's a behind. Margin is 8 points.
During that passage of play, Jason Purantanamiri just came off on the interchange there. Just was holding his shoulder when he came off, just trying to rotate it a little bit now, so we'll keep an eye on that.
He's got a touch of momentum, Tiwi, here at the moment.
We've got two on the bench. One of those is that sore Jason Purantanamiri. Check out who the others are. We know Dion Munkara with either an ankle or a knee.
Can't afford a silly turnover here, I don't think, Saints.
Parry's long kick. Up towards Calder. Shannon Rioli. Slipped around Xavier Grant beautifully. Kicks up towards half forward. Labastide in front of Farmer. Farmer ran him under the footy and it goes out of bounds.
Sort of Saints going under the radar a bit. Look, sort of spoke to Anthony Villaggio a bit at the start of the year, and I said, if you come third, I reckon it'll be an awesome effort. They're going to finish second. Well, it looks like they'll finish second. It's just an outstanding coaching effort by him in his first year of coaching.
Last year's Wooden Spooners.
Yeah, so terrific effort by him and the St Mary's Footy Club.
Xavier Grant, tackle by Payne. Molyneux, good tackle on him by Paredes. Spun around 360 degrees. Cruz with pace, pushes away. Handballs over the top to Tangatulum. The exciting Tiwi machines are light now. Two bounces by Roscoe. Didn't come back to him. Does now run to 50. Low kick. Will it have the carry? Oh, no, it won't. Skids through the goal square and across the face for a behind.
Well, look at the defensive side. Jacob Long, been pretty quiet today, but good chase. Just shows that you've got to stay in the game one way or another. But just kept putting pressure on, and Tangatulum wasn't able to kick the goal.
The other injured players might be Braden Rioli, Rick and Matty. I can't see the number 3 out there. With desperation by Tom Davies. He's a hard-nosed defender. Yeah. Tiwi threatened, but Tom had eyes on the footy and would not be pushed off the ball.
They thought at the start of the year, I didn't think Saints would be able to get with Nightcliff or Southern Districts because they usually fly a lot of players in, but I don't think those two clubs have flown that many in this year. I thought if Saints could come third, the list is still there to win a flag, but to come second on the ladder with their win-loss ratio, been very good.
Braxton Armat received from Daly, kicks up to Larson, spoiled away by Molyneux. Out comes Calder, laid enough pressure, and Calder comes up to the ball. Maybe had a little bit more time than that, threw it onto the left boot, up towards full forward. A push has been paid. Payne's got the ball. It's a downfield decision, is it, or is it going to be a Tiwi kick? It might be back to Molyneux for something Larson did, maybe.
I reckon Payne. Yeah, it is coming back.
Back to Molyneux. Not sure they'll get a replay on that, but it's a Tiwi ball. They'll be happy with that because Saints were away inside attacking 50. Molyneux's been solid tonight. So he tries to qualify for finals. This is his 6th game, so that in fact will be his qualification. Sean Edwards been terrific. Back to half forward. Jones over the top. Larson has got Calder all alone. And all it has to do is sit for him. It clears his head. McClendon comes at him. Clever looking for Johnston, but Baird was wonderful. Diving through the double fist. He's going to be pinged for deliberate.
Wow.
Well, I'm speechless. I'm assuming that's what the free kick's for. He was in amongst 2 St Mary's players. To me, that was pressure. He had to dive forward to even get to the contest.
Got to be inside the square, so we'll have a look at that if the replay shows it. So he must be inside the square, but I don't see why the free kick's there and on that angle. I'm not quite sure how the rules are that way.
Wally Gallio might be able to inform us. He's sitting with us tonight doing some checking on umpiring. He might be able to scribble us a note. Johnston's missed, has he? No, he's claiming the goal, and it is a goal. So St Mary's pushed the margin back out to 13 points. We'll say no more and wait till I'm briefed properly on why that decision was paid.
Is it inside or outside the square would be the question.
Yeah, to me it's around what the pressure is in this certain circumstance. And I couldn't think of much greater pressure then than what that player was under, Rodney Baird, and he did exactly the right thing. As we see Jason Purantatameri on screen, he came in with a heavily bandaged left knee and he's now got a pretty sore left shoulder by the looks of it.
Yeah, that's what he was holding when he came off before.
Already without, I think it's Braden Rioli, and we know about Dion Mankara, so just 2 on the bench. One of those is Paddy
Heenan's one of them.
Yep, so 2 of their big guns, most experienced players sitting out at the moment for Tiwi, and they've just conceded what I think is a pretty unlucky goal. Harley Purantatameri out through the middle of TIO Stadium, kicks up towards half forward. Molyneux straining with every inch of his fibre of his body, came up to the footy and then drills the pass beautifully to Jeffrey Simon. That's centre half forward. 55 out, kicks in towards the pockets. Oh, the kick didn't quite carry, slipped through the fingertips. Was it a high tackle? Player on the call. Jake Long from the right back pocket, kicks up towards the wing. St Mary's have got numbers. Payne marks on his chest. Back to Sean Edwards, 2 of the stars tonight for Saints. Edwards calls his teammates to come up at him from half forward. Calder flies at half forward and marks 55 out. Johnston 1 out in the goal square. Up against McClendon. Maybe took a little bit too long there, Calder. Johnston still screaming for it. And drills the pass down the throat of Leroy. That's not Leroy Larson. It is Riley Miller at centre half forward. We thought about playing on. Payne gave him a short lead. He now does play on. The kick's not great. Jones read it best. Flares it out towards the right back pocket. Cruz goes out towards the boundary line. Curls the kick in around towards Sylvani Babui. Off hands out of bounds.
Saints could get one here. It'd be a fairly handy lead going into the last quarter.
Anthony Long with the ball in hand. Ferreira marks in front of Harley Purantatameri. Now the kick inside 50, out comes Calder. Baird did very well to spoil it away and then comes up with the crumb to Harley Purantatameri. Handball's in front. Can he control it in front of Rioli? Rioli gets support from Anthony Long. Back to Shannon Rioli. Into the middle to Sean Edwards. Edwards kick. Leroy Larson 2 to beat. And he's going to win a free kick, I think, for a push. Molyneux is the one that has infringed. I reckon it was almost there. He was up against two players, Jones at the back, and Molyneux just came in from the side just a little bit too aggressively, ruled the umpire, and Leroy Larson can line up for his first goal of the night.
Fairly handy set shot at goal, Leroy, and I don't think the distance will be an issue. We're in the famous number of Ted Liddy. And Jared Eilert. Jared Eilert as well wore that famous number.
Larson for a 19-point lead to St Mary's. Ricky Nolan called it. No mistake from Leroy. And St Mary's get their 6th goal. 6-8 plays 3-7. And this is a big margin in a low-scoring game.
He's had a pretty consistent year, Leroy. So it needs a big final series, I reckon.
Yeah, 15 games, 21 goals so far this season.
Yeah, Sean Edwards, I think, been best on ground so far. Leroy just watches the ball and gets a free kick. Saints in a good position to win this game of football. Got their best 3 players in the middle in Paredes, Payne and Sean Edwards as well. So we've been pinged for the 6-6-6. And they'll get a free kick from it. Must have been their second warning.
And there was one earlier.
Braxton Armat is the recipient of the kick. Go forward again, Saints. Out comes Johnston. Jones, well tackled by Paredes. Slick to Rioli, Calder in the square. Big mark. McClendon got there too late, and Jackson Calder can line up for his second goal. Floodgates are just starting to open.
Oh, he kicked this, and although you can never say never against Saints, but they've certainly got the momentum.
Yeah.
Tiwi's grasp on third spot is slipping. Calder directly in front, pokes it through for his second, and the margin is 25, doubling their score 50-25.
Looking good as with Tiwi took it up to Nightcliff next week. Saints may be a contender. Jared Waite to come into the side. Jackson Geary, as I said, he had an operation on Monday. He hopes to be back. Plaster off in 2 weeks' time. He hopes to play either the first or the second final. Ralph Clark played in the Div 1 last week. I don't know if Anthony Vallejo's made him play 2 games in the Div 1. I'm not quite sure what that situation is or how he pulled up from that game, but here's another one. Could be
injured,
used.
has he?
Yeah, he injured an ankle, but he could be used in the ruck. I reckon he's not a bad second ruckman, Ralph.
Monagatti won the tap. Wanamiri, Simon. Dunn, high kick, inside 50. Good pressure there by St Mary's. Davies came up with a footy. Then slides past for the handball. Received on the bounce. Can't break the tackle. Very powerful from Matthew Cantil, and he wins a free kick. Against a bigger bodied opponent, did well. 17 minutes gone, third quarter. Need a couple before three-quarter time in a low-scoring game. The Tiwi to be any chance. They've got 2 on the bench. Mind you, the leading ruckman, one of the best in the last decade, I reckon, Rick, in NTFL footy. Ryan Smith is off for St Mary's, unlikely to come back.
Yeah, he looks like he's got ice on it. So
Michael Dunn, I should say. Oh, stretching there. Wanamiri couldn't complete the mark. And St Mary's, it opens up. Rioli tripped it beautifully, got away from Jones, and then the kick is across the face as he tried to just grub her along rather than kick it into the air, and misses to the left.
In the words of Jason Dunstall, Shannon, just kick a drop punt.
Jones to Michael Dunn. Dunn to Harley Puruntata Mary. Oh, it was a bit too high. Edwards comes the other way, comes up with a footy, kicks in the Calder direction. Coming through though is Farmer for the Tiwi Bombers. He mops up under pressure though now from Paredes. Still going St Mary's, out to Edwards. Seemed like a goal and deserves one. Goes backwards, outside of the boot on the left to Larson. Shrugs Heenan. He's got a left boot. Hooks it around the corner. Jones and Salmon over the back to Rioli. No doubt about that. And the margin all of a sudden is 32 points. 19 minutes gone, third quarter. And it's all St Mary's.
Yeah, going back to Ryan Smith, and I spoke last week. I reckon it's the worst depth of ruckman we've ever seen in this competition for 20 years, in my opinion. I reckon Ryan could be an absolute key if he's really, really positive. His record in finals is very, very good, so he's a good finals player. And I do reckon he's a bit of a key to St Mary's chances as well. Not a lot of recognised ruckman. I'm talking about that the ruckman that could top line Vic Country players or play SANFL football. That's what most final sides have got. But this year, it's just the depth of ruckman. Most sides are playing second string ruckman, in my opinion.
Braxton Armat's been a fill-in for most of the year for Saints and done pretty well. In those big games, you worry how he'd go, but he's certainly a competitor. Paredes from the middle to Calder in front, spoiled away by Baird, who's been serviceable all night. Big tackle by Molyneux on Jacob Long. Cruz stripped away. Riley Miller for St Mary's, taps it out. Out it comes to Jacob Long, 40 metres out. Long for another one to St Mary's, hits the post. Slaps the turf in frustration. That really would have buried the Tiwis, closing in on three-quarter time. It's a 33-point ball game as it is. Jones turns it over, and that sums up the Tiwis' last quarter and a bit. Ferreira marks 30 metres out, 45-degree angle. Injury struck Tiwi side, and now mistakes coming from someone who doesn't make too many mistakes, Chris Jones. Been a good recruit, trying to qualify for finals. Ferreira's shot on goal. Goal umpire doesn't move too much. It's another one to St Mary's. They get their ninth. 9-10-64, and the margin is 39 points. Tiwi 3-7-25.
Floodgates are opening. Yeah, Fiera's played pretty well. I think he went to Ross Trevor boarding school in Adelaide. I know he went to one of the boarding schools. I'm pretty sure it was Ross Trevor, famous boarding school in Adelaide, and has come back and could be handy. I think it's his Davin's brother that plays for Wanderers, actually. So a bit of speed and could be handy come finals time.
Just one goal this term to the Tiwi Bombers. It's 6 to St Mary's. Big quarter by Saints. Over the top, Armat won the tap. Molyneux trying to lift his side. Cheek goes in hard. Free kick goes against the Bombers, and Cheek comes up with it. He goes long. Larson in from the side. Set himself well. Edwards twists his way through the pack. Sweeping handball there came from Ferreira. Chopped down though by Curtis Dunn to Michael Dunn. Oh, running off the flight of the ball. Darcy takes a wonderful mark in between a couple of St Mary's players. Looks inboard to Tunga Tullum. Gets to him, marks on his chest. Love a goal before three-quarter time and get 50 metres. That'll help. He'll kick from about 35, I reckon, from directly in front. And if he moves it quickly, they might have time to jag another one and give themselves some hope before entering the final term. Tunga Tullum, he has kicked one already tonight, one of the 3 Tiwi Bombers goals. From about 40 metres now, Ross Tunga Tullum with that beautiful technique has just snuck it through, I think. The umpire did a bit of work to the left, but it's a goal to Tunga Tullum. Tiwis hang in there just. 4-7 to 9-10. It's a 33-point margin.
I like Rocco. Kicks the goal, trying to pump up his side. So some pretty good leadership there. I think it's important they finish the game. There's Andrew Wills. I said before, close to the best football brain in the Northern Territory. Him and Stewie Davies, I think, are up there. Brendan Toy's another one that's outstanding football brain. And when you've got a bloke of that calibre on your bench, your football club's in a pretty good situation.
Bloke in this commentary box with a pretty good footy brain, some would argue.
Maybe not. Maybe not as good as Andrew Wills.
Montegatti and Armat straight down the throat of Tunga Tullum through the middle of TIO Stadium. Handballs to himself. Well tackled by Anthony Long. Oh, he's been pinged for holding him. So Tunga Tullum, all the tricks, wins the free kick at right half forward. He is trying to lift his side single-handedly. Pokes it in towards the forward pocket. Wanamiri's there. Tyler Saunders shrugs the tackle, got the handball away. And a long kick there by Jake Long to the wing. Larson in front.
Oh, wow.
Beautifully played, Nut. Couldn't quite take it with him, Jacob Long. And it's coming back to Larson anyway. Is it a mark or a free kick? Leroy Larson. Outer side, centre wing, kicks up towards half forward. McClendon up against Edwards, out of bounds, about 70 metres around.
We talk a lot about this injury-depleted Tiwi Bombers at the moment. Prun Tatamiri has spent the entire third quarter just rotating that shoulder on the sidelines and will not go back out. So although he's on the bench at the moment, he's not going anywhere.
Three-quarter time, second versus third. St Mary's broke it open in that term, 6 goals to 2, and they lead by 33 points at three-quarter time.
You are one of almost 140,000 people living in an area at risk of being affected by a cyclone this wet season. In your cyclone kit, you will need a battery-operated radio and torch with spare batteries, enough food and at least 10 litres of water per person to sustain you and your family for 72 hours or more. Remember, all important documentation such as passports, photos and insurance policies should be kept in a safe and waterproof place. Be prepared this wet season. Brought to you by TIO.
Oh, yeah! Gee, she got a good leg on her, right?
What a show-off.
Did you see my goal?
Hey.
I thought I played a deadly game.
You should be ashamed of yourself and showing off and asking for all that attention. And looking like that?
You can do something to change the ending.
Did you see my goal?
Hey.
I thought I played a deadly game.
What? You should be ashamed of yourself and showing off and asking for all that attention. And looking like that?
Sis, you right?
You want to come over to the club with us?
What? You're not going anywhere. You're coming with me.
Come on, Bruss. What are you going on about? Look what you're wearing. It's the same thing. We're going, having a chat.
You can change how it plays out.
Hey, bro, you all right or what? Come on, man. Let's go have a chat. Gotta be better, man. What's been going on?
Do something to change the ending. It's everyone's responsibility to prevent violence.
So we can feel forever, yeah, feel together, real, together. No one can stop. No one can stop. Nothing can ever bring me down.
Mother Nature can be frighteningly predictable in the Territory this time of year. Heavy rains and damaging winds can cause significant problems and disruption, particularly if you're unprepared, while downed power lines and flash flooding can be lethal. To ensure you're ready, visit powerwater.com.au/safety or text SAFETY to 0428 323 991 for more information. Because staying safe and ready around Mother Nature should be second nature.
CFS Schoolwear is the perfect choice for quality custom-made school uniforms. Ideal clothing for all school-related activities, whether it's 50 or 500 students, we have what you need. Contact the Cricket and Football Shop NT for your free CFS Schoolwear quote today.
Let's see. Roma, Verona?
Perhaps Barcelona.
Make your dream holiday a reality. Book your next getaway at Flight Centre with interest-free holidays and flexible repayment options.
Best in the air.
And everywhere.
Flight Centre.
Intersport, new concept store now open in Casuarina Square. Come in and check out a world-class shopping experience.
Dedicated sports zones.
Now stocking only the biggest brands in tennis, cricket, fitness from treadmills to benches, boxing, swimming, darts, pool and table tennis. For awesome service and advice, come in and see it. Still locally owned and operated, the all-new Intersport concept store.
Now open at Casuarina Square.
We're here for when the heavens open and the winds howl. We're here for when the water just won't stop. We're here for the wet and we're here for the dry. We're here because we know there's nowhere else you'd rather be.
And there's nowhere else we'd rather be either. TIO Home Insurance. We're for Territorians.
Once again, we invite you to stick around after the game as one player from each team will be awarded the Spirit of the Game medal. Presented by the No More, in support of the No More campaign, which is what we're here for in round 17. Best player in the Spirit of the Game will be chosen by the coaches of the opposition team. So please do hang around at the end.
Three-quarter time here at TIO Stadium, and third place is on the line right now for the Tiwi Bombers. They are 4-7-31, trailing St Mary's 9-10-64. Matt Hepworth, Ricky Nolan and Rob Cross. Ricky, thoughts on the game so far?
Yeah, Tiwi, St Mary's very dominant in that quarter. I know Tiwi are a little bit injury depleted, but just players that played well for Tiwi last week just aren't playing well today, or St Mary's just playing well.
Heard a little burst of the siren there, where it seems like all players are just in place.
Iggy Vallejo, the NTFL games record holder, on the bench. It's a runner helping out his brother for the year.
A bit of a delay here. Big third quarter, 5 goals. It wasn't, I might have said 6. 5 goals to 2 in favour of St Mary's. They're led by 14 points at halftime after trailing by a point at quarter time. And twice this year, it's been Tiwi's defeating St Mary's. So Saints have turned it around. Penultimate round before finals. They are going to finish second on the NTFL ladder after winning the wooden spoon last year. Molyneux traps it and thumps a wobbly torpedo 60 metres to the goal square. Wow. Monagatti marks and then delivers a backhander and doesn't hand over the footy. He whacked Jake Long. Monagatti is able to keep the footy and will line up from 12 metres out directly in front.
Look like Tiwi have thrown the magnets around, which I reckon is good when things aren't working. Throw the magnets around a bit, and they put McLinden in the ruck. And this guy here has gone to full forward, so some good coaching, I reckon.
Monagatti for his first of the night has missed to the left.
How do you do that?
And to your point earlier about players rubbing noses in it, Rick, I reckon St Mary's teams of old would have gone up to Jack then and said, how about it, mate? Jake Long steps around Monagatti, kicks to the wing, parries through his fingers. Cantilla, Edwards grabs the footy, favours the boundary line. McClendon drops the mark. 32 points the margin, opening minute of the final term.
I've had some famous stirrers, I think, in the past. Justin Wilson didn't mind getting under the skin of people. Kevin Tanderwatch is another one that was very, very good at it.
Thrown back into play. Tap by McClendon. Molyneux keeps it in front of himself. Well done by Kurt. Done to Heenan. Have they got a goal here? Well done, Paddy Heenan. That's better play by the Bombers. Bit of spark as well. They run to each other at half forward. And Heenan brings them back to within 26 points.
Yeah, Kurt Dunn, well done. He bodied line and first grabbed the footy. It was really well done. Got the ball to Paddy N, and you can just see here. I reckon Dunn was terrific here. One grab, first grab, and get rid of it with the left hand over great handball. He drew 3. Gave it to Paddy Hannon, and he finished off there. But Kurt Dunn's impressed me this year. I was talking to his auntie during the week, Mary Dunn, who's an extremely powerful woman in NT football, and she's a power broker in Tiwi Islands football. Just talking about how hard Kurt Dunn's worked to get where he's got now. But one of the most improved players for Tiwi Bombers, and keep working, Kurt. You've done very, very well.
McClendon won the tap.
He's in form, Tangatala, isn't he?
He kicks it inside, attacking 50. On the bounce, Babui. Parry did well just to keep it away from him. Wanamiri wants the footy, doesn't find him. Jake Long did well. Socket off the ground towards the wing. Scooped up by Molyneux. Can't quite shrug Long. Well done, held his ground. Back to Cantilla though. His high kick is out of bounds on the full. He was hit late, so they've called it a down the ground against Jacob Long. Just a little overly aggressive. Opens the door again for the Bombers. Wanamiri. I reckon Aussie's got this in him, hasn't he, Rick?
And he looks confident. I reckon confidence is a key. A little bit of a look.
The former Demon from 50, from the boundary line. Unloads, didn't make great contact. It'll land in the goal square, and Tyler Saunders, uncontested, marks in defence. Quickly breaking his cheek.
Good kick.
He drops the mark, so Dunn has time to come at him. The cheek had time to spin around and throw it onto the left boot and kick down the line to Johnston, who hasn't really added much to the Saints lineup tonight. Drops the mark.
I reckon Johnson, he's a flying at the moment. If he's dead serious, I don't know what his work situation is, but if Saints are going to keep investing in you, you've got to move up here. You know, there's a month to go. I think he's the final spot. They've had injuries and Anthony Wilson can't commit. I think he should look at moving up here for the last month, but it's easier said than done. I don't know what his living situation is.
McClendon won the tap. Salmon got there first, gave it back to Jake Long, to Cheek. Bright start to the final quarter. Cheek kicks towards half forward. Molyneux, he was off. Well done by Leroy Larson. Corralled him across half forward. Michael Dunn running with a flight of the footy. Took the mark.
Wow.
And a whistle's gone. It's got to come back, I think, towards half forward. And who's got the kick? It's going to be a Saints kick.
Leroy Larson, I think behind play Montague. They've given him an ear massage, I think, so Leroy Larson will get the ball.
Oh, gee, that's a big blow.
And 50.
Wow.
Wow.
Ill-discipline. We saw that last week, didn't we, Matty?
Yeah.
An incident between Roy Farmer hitting a Nightcliff player late and a 50-metre penalty at this very end of the ground, which really changed the momentum.
It was, you're right, Rob, right from that moment, everything changed.
And Leroy Larson will line up for his second goal of the night.
Not like Leroy Larson to get under the skin of people either.
The man on the mark will be right on the goal line, will he, or right on the top of the goal square?
It's completely changed momentum. Tiwi come out, and which then goes into I don't think they can win the game, but just form-wise, going into next week. So.
Passage of play in the last minute or so. If they'd kicked a goal, it would have been back to in 20 points. As it turns out, it's now a 32-point lead again to St Mary's. 5 minutes gone, final quarter, and the Heat might now go out of the game. We'll see.
Well, we saw this with Tiwi last week. You talk about that momentum change, and at that moment, Nightcliff stepped up a gear. Tiwi kind of got on the plane and went home. Just a quick update on Ryan Smith. He is back down on the ground, just working with the trainer at the moment. He is standing up. He still looks a bit sore, though, so we'll keep an eye on that for Saints fans.
Monaghetti as well, missed that sitter as well, so could be within striking distance, but not now.
So as it stands, the ladder, Nightcliff tops at Mary's second. Buffalo's third on the same points as the fourth place Tiwi Bombers. 40 points they've got, but better percentage. And Southern Districts are on 38, just half a game behind in fifth. Inside attacking 50. Jason Purantatameri on the forward line. Harley Purantatameri can't control the footy. Well played by Daly. Now Harley scoops it up. Harley curls it around right on the goal line. No, it's gone through from behind before the mark could be paid. And Tom Davies wastes no time and brings the ball back into play. And kicks it out towards... Is that the first gamer? I think it might be. Colin Wilson. Kick up towards the wing. Big fly. Great grab taken by Larson. To Tom Davies. Cuts back inboard to Payne. He's got Rioli a little further forward. Back to Davies. Davies by hand to Edwards. Edwards clever kick to Rioli. Marks a centre half forward. Plays on. Pokes the kick over the top, and it's all St Mary's. I think this is the first gamer.
Yep, Colin Wilson. So shot from about 30 out.
For his first goal in Premier League footy in his debut match from 30 metres out, slight angle. Some suggestions coming from Roy Farmer.
Yeah, he's not very happy with Nathan Paredes, is he?
Colin Wilson. Not a big task, but when you're lining up for your first goal in the competition, it's a pretty exciting time. Stuttering approach. Lovely kick by Wilson. No mistake. Salutes the crowd. And it's the 11th goal to St Mary's, and the margin is now 37 points.
Going to look at this. Well done here by good run from defence, and well done by Shannon Rioli here as well. So played on. Saw the youngster kick the footy to him, but there'll be some very interesting discussions at Anthony Villojo's house this week. The last centre break, his wife, who runs water, Tracy Villojo, was inside the square, gave away a free kick. So I reckon there'll be some very interesting discussions at their house this week. So I reckon on Monday, Tracy will say, "What are you cooking, Anthony?" And Anthony will say, "Hey, love, you went inside the centre square. You're cooking tonight."
McClendon wins the tap. Parry gives away a free kick. Tried to take on Molyneux unsuccessfully. So Molyneux, the ball's got to come back. No advantage paid.
If I was Anthony Villojo, I'd try and milk it. I reckon she should do the floors and clean the bathroom as well. I'd really milk it if I was him.
But has he got any credits on that front though, Rick?
Well, she went in the square, mate.
Molyneux.
It's one of the greatest Ricky Nolan stories I've ever heard.
Monagatti in a long lead. It hits him. Oh, he drops the mark. I'm not sure why he needed to go to ground. Just keep running and mark it on your chest. Instead, he just tumbled over and bounced off his chest, and it goes out of bounds. Easy to make those comments from the commentary box, but it's my observation. Monagatti will take on Parry and Ruck. Left forward pocket, 45 around from the Bombers' goal. They might have missed their chance. They came out in a hurry in this final term, but they've fallen behind 37 points. Biggest lead of the night to St Mary's. Jacob Long shrugs the Molyneux tackle. Back it comes to Tom Davies. Out it goes to Labastida. Well done by Kurt Dunn. Handball was pretty good as he was being tackled. Jacob Long, Payne. Out to Labastida. Inboard it comes to Rioli. Shannon Rioli. Saint skipper. Out wide to Leroy Larson. Another possession back to Shannon Rioli. Sharing the footy. Now to Jackson Payne. Payne unloads. Inside attacking 50, but Jones standing in the way. Kick didn't quite make its target of Johnston, or Jones might have turned it over straight to Jake Long. He went the spoil option. Tunga Talam. Long does well. Tunga Talam shrugs the tackle. Being legged, and the umpire said it's got to come all the way back to centre half back. No advantage paid. Tackle slipping down in desperation.
Let's see Jason Purantatamiri back out there. That left shoulder quite heavily strapped.
Tunga Talam to Harley Purantatamiri. Marks at centre half back in front of Cheek.
He hasn't played as well as he did last week, has he, Harley?
Steps around, kicks towards centre half forward. Gets hit late and wants to take it on. No need. Just let it go, I think. They've got the free kick down the ground. Now Heenan wants to get involved. Simon Munkara, meanwhile, sent it inside attacking 50. Wanameri. Davies in from the side as Saunders and Wanameri were wrestling. Jacob Long, right half back. Worst thing that Tiwi could do is have a bit of a brain snap and maybe be reported and suspended. Well played by Jacob Long.
A bit worried about that.
Several bounces down the outer side, inside attacking 50. Ferreira. Rocher's got the chocolates. Great goal by St Mary's. Some good shepherding off the ball. But it's another goal to the Saints, and the margin is 43.
And some of this, starts to heat up a bit on the field. Let's not forget we're in the middle of the no more round at the moment, and a round where we talk about trying to reduce, or in fact get rid of, domestic and family violence in the community. And so much of it starts on the football field here as well. The AFL-NT have really taken a great lead in partnering with the No More campaign. And the last thing you want to see in any game, but particularly this game, is violence on the field.
Correct. I think every side now is forced to sign an agreement where if one of your players does something that's unacceptable, the player must front the group and apologise and speak about their wrong deeds. So certainly football or sport in the Northern Territory is certainly leading the way.
Yep.
Paredes to centre half forward. Labastida, the ball sits for him. Ducks under a tackle from Tungatalam. Well umpired, called play on. And pressure came there late. There's a Tiwi player down. Heenan. Oh, watch out. Edwards socketed it through his fingertips. No kicking in danger. Still that Tiwi players down. Larson sends it out towards half forward. And it comes into Salmon, who marks 40 metres out. 45-degree angle for St Mary's. Tiwi player will pick up in a moment. Slowly picking himself up is Alistair Darcy. And he looks pretty proppy as well.
Tonight, a good sign for Saints. I think it's Sean Edwards' greatest game that he's ever played for the St Mary's Football Club.
Yeah, it's the best I've seen him play. Salmon. For his first goal of the night. He's well away to the right. It's out of bounds on the full.
Salmon had a bag of them in a Saints game we called earlier in the year.
Oh, juggled. Rioli. Now that's deliberate, I would have thought. If the one at the other end was.
Yeah.
Anyway, not outside the centre square. I know Rioli was outside the goal square, I should say. Rioli was right beside him. Allowed to get away with that one. Jones sits under the footy and marks. Pressure came late from Larson, so it was a pretty good mark. Darcy's being helped off the ground now by trainers. Another serious injury, maybe. Molyneux was called for the footy. Is that the players coming off right in front of where
nearly
that
taken out
passage of play?
Yep.
Absolutely.
Good umpiring, very good umpiring, smart.
Umpires come in and said, I'll ball it up and allow Alistair Darcy to make his way off the field, surrounded by 3 Tiwi trainers. Labastida comes off in the first game up with a goal under his belt. Colin Wilson comes back on. Parry up against McClendon. Payne to Wilson, the one-handed pickup. Straight to Molyneux. Wilson's taken down, a hold. And umpire Joel Morrison, cricket NT boss, has decided it's a free kick to Colin Wilson. "15 minutes gone, final term. St Mary's by 44 points. They trailed by a point at quarter time. They led by 14 points at halftime when it was still a contest. But 5 goals to 2 in the third term broke the game open, and Edwards has come up with another possession. He goes backwards, sideways to Anthony Long.
They both went to school together, these two, so they might be kick to kick from the school days.
Larson. Forced onto his left boot. Rioli, the second juggle. He's going to set it towards the goal square. Johnston and Calder. Johnston 2 to beat. Johnson goes up. Calder at the back of the pack. Couldn't quite get clean possession, and Cruz comes up with it for the Tiwi Bombers. On the bounce to Farmer. Ferreira was there to close him down. Ferreira still got the footy. Farmer brings him down in a tackle. Ferreira crawls after the footy, squeezes it out. Wilson, horrible kick. But it still might come up to Paredes. Simon lays a strong tackle for the Tiwi Bombers. Socket off the ground, outside the danger zone, up towards centre half back. Diving after it, Simon Mankara. Stripped of the ball by Daly. Daly flares it out wide to Ferreira. Ferreira back to Salmon. On the run, Salmon from 30. On the goal line, Johnston marks. He thought about playing on for his second. He kicked one at the other end of the ground from the goal line from a set shot.
A bit going on in the middle of the ground. There's about 5 Tiwi players wanting to tell Leroy Larson they don't like him very much, I think.
Paddy Heenan involved again as Johnston kicks his second and blows the margin out to 50. 89 plays 39, 17 minutes gone, final quarter. And still it goes on in the middle.
I worry about Tiwi and their temperament at the moment.
Yeah.
I just hope they don't lose a good player. And we spoke about the round and the importance of no violence. And I just hope nothing silly happens. Another advantage, I reckon, for both these sides, but especially St Mary's, the grand final is played at this time, and there's not that many night games this late anymore, and especially Tiwi don't get to play in that many. So an advantage playing under lights going into the final series for these two sides as well.
Shannon Rioli talking to Austin Wanamiri there. Just trying to calm tempers a little.
He's not usually like that, Austin. He's a pretty calm character. So
it's again the Tiwi Bombers forced to sprint back for the 666 rule. Clendon will be up against Braxton Armat. Back in the middle. Let's get the play underway. Umpire, it's a 50-point lead to St Mary's. Tiwi's top 3 aspirations certainly aren't done because they play Wanderers next week, who they'd be heavily favoured to beat off the side of Heenan's boot, while the Buffaloes, who are currently 3rd, would need to beat St Mary's, assuming Tiwi beat Wanderers. Michael Dunn stands in the way, but the ball slips through his fingertips. Jones, sloppy handball under pressure. Rioli. Michael Dunn goes to ground. Might be a bit unfair because Michael Dunn was waiting for the ball to come out as Cruz, in fact. My man bun's confused. David Cruz inside defensive 50. Looks sideways and then goes down the line to McClendon. He's taken off the ball illegally, said the umpire, by Braxton Armat. So McClendon wins the free kick. 19 minutes gone. It's all St Mary's after a close first half. Cruz comes up to receive the handball, kicks in the Molyneux direction. Oh, the one-handed. Did he take it in the field of play, though?
Went out of bounds.
It was out of bounds.
He's played a good game. I reckon he'll be a handy player come finals. And
it's not as clean as I've seen him in some games, Rick, but he certainly hasn't stopped trying. He did give away a pretty crucial turnover free kick, though.
Yeah.
It's a black mark against him. It's Parry. Clendon in from the side, just happy to belt it over the line and out of bounds.
Punched it away from his 2 teammates. But McLinden played in Tiwi's one and only grand final. I think that was about 7 years ago or something now. And he plays for Greensborough Football Club as well. So, yeah, I think he was living up here actually when he played in Tiwi's premiership last time, and his first time he's been back in NTFL football since, I think.
Winding down to full time. Of course, end of the coverage, or end of the game, we'll have the Spirit of the Game awards selected by the 2 coaches from players on the opposing teams, the players that have played well, but also respect for their opposition and teammates. As Jones has been paid the mark, close to the defensive goal. On the bounce to Farmer. He's good enough to gather it, send it out towards the wing. Xavier Grant up against Riley Miller. One-on-one contest. Leroy Larson comes to lend assistance. Now Grant's got 2 to beat. Larson, Grant did well initially. Larson breaks the tackle, sends it backwards down the throat of Liam Daly.
Leroy Larson coming off the ground, so I think the Tiwi coaching staff would be happy with that.
Daly to Jake Long, to Tom Davies.
Tom Davies, I think, will go very well in St Mary's Best and Fairest this year. I think he's had an outstanding year.
Shannon Rioli marks. Johnston just waited a little bit, really attacked the footy at full pace, I didn't think, and on the bounce goes out of bounds.
Interesting with St Mary's fly-ins. I think I think they'll go with Geary, Payne. Be interesting to see if Kieran Parnell gets a call. He's down training with Williamstown at the moment.
Harley Purantata-Mary to the wing. Cantilla in front, bounced off his chest. Salmon, slick hands, looked for Daly. He couldn't control it. Salmon, 3 Tiwi players around him. Jason Purantata-Mary comes hard, and well done by Salmon. Rode the bump, came up with the footy. Oh, well done by Xavier Grant, ran straight into Daly. Ball comes free. Jason Purantata-Mary bounces off the shin there of Daly. Comes back to Purantata-Mary. High kick towards half forward. Numbers favour St Mary's. Tyler Saunders. Cantilla went the bump. Did he go high? Play on the call. Jacob Long taps it to himself basketball style. Didn't come back to him though, but got support through Parry. Through his legs, through his fingertips. Back to Long. Well done by Cantilla. Did not give up, but unfortunately conceded a free kick for over the shoulder. But great intensity by Cantilla. And the coaching staff would like to see that happen a bit more often. Rioli called to play on to Davies, to the right back pocket. Goes long down the wing for the first gamer. Simon couldn't lay the tackle, and away goes Wilson. Can he scoop it up? Dunn comes at him hard. He goes off the ground, and on the bounce, it's out of bounds at right half forward for St Mary's.
Ryan Smith on screen there.
Yeah, I think Saints will go well if Ryan's up and about. As I said, he's got a pretty good record in finals footy. I think if he's really, really positive to his teammates, I think St Mary's will challenge Nightcliff and Tiwi. There's a lot of sides, districts aren't out of it, and Buffs. Both those sides have got good lists. Don't worry about that.
Oh, Cheek grabbed the footy from the ruck contest, but his kick's turned over straight down the throat of Jones. Out to Farmer. Got Babui, but he goes longer than that to Cantilla. Has to wait under it, but he's got a paddock. Probably could have run on a little further. Went for the kick pretty early, and the ball goes out of bounds before Xavier Grant could control it. 50 metres around from the Tiwi goal at right half forward. 23.5 minutes gone, final term. It's 89 to 39. 50-point lead to St Mary's. They lock away second spot on the ladder. Great turnaround after the wooden spoon last season. Cantilla doing the right work. An air swing. Cheek. Handball over the top, only as far as Cantilla, who's been busy in the last 5 minutes. Jake Long, though. Ferreira for St Mary's. To Labastida. What a wonderful kick by Ferreira. He's done some good things, Rick. Not sure he's in their best 22, but he's been handy.
Yeah, especially in this last quarter, I agree. Another kid, James Box, in St Mary's 18s. I'd look at maybe playing him next week and have a look at him. I thought he was terrific up until Christmas. I think he went home, he went missing for a month, or went down south for a month, but I'd probably look at him next week as well.
And Slater we saw early on, the solid young player.
Yeah, I don't know if
still around.
Yeah, I think he's playing the 18s. I'm not sure if he's fit enough for finals footy. I'd have a look at Box next week. And I'd agree, I'd stay with Fiera.
Colin Wilson's done well in the last quarter as well in his first game of Premier League footy. Fitting way to finish. He's got the ball in hand and he's kicked a goal as well. Big win by St Mary's. 13-11-89 to the Tiwi Bombers 5-9-39. And that's a blow to the Tiwi Bombers. Injuries tonight to Dion Munkara most notably, and also Alistair Darcy. And they have given up third spot on the ladder to the Buffaloes. A game to go though in the home and away season. Next week the Buffs have to play St Mary's. That'll be a tough ask, and the Tiwi Bombers would be heavy favourites to beat the Wanderers. So they can't give up yet, Rick, on that third spot. But on tonight's form and looking at a pretty proppy Jason Purantatameri, who stayed on the ground but is hobbling as he shakes hands with St Mary's players and has a shoulder problem, they seem to be the walking wounded coming into finals.
Yeah, I think that third spot is vital. There's no difference between second or third. Absolutely no difference whatsoever. I think to really give it a good premiership to it, you've got to come first, second or third, because that then allows you to have a mishap or a bad game, or the ball just doesn't bounce your way or something like that. But if you come fourth or fifth, it's you have a bad quarter and it's goodbye. So I think it's pretty vital. A few things still going on now. We sort of want to see this in no more round, do we?
Yeah, well, we're actually standing by for the Spirit of the Game medal, which, as Rob touched on earlier, is awarded to one player from each team, awarded by the opposition coach, of who they thought played within the spirit of the game. And it is worrying to see some of those tempers still flaring over now that the game's over. I thought for St Mary's tonight that was a bit of redemption. I think the narrative of the season so far has been who can beat Nightcliff, and well, a few weeks ago there was a lot of excitement around St Mary's potentially being able to beat Nightcliff, and they put in a pretty lacklustre performance, as opposed to the Tiwi Bombers last week that really put it up to Nightcliff for 3 quarters. But Ricky, I think the term you said earlier is a lot can change within 7 days, and Tiwi Bombers 5-9-39 tonight, St Mary's 13-11-89. All of a sudden I'd probably tip the scales back towards Saints being the favourite to beat Nightcliff.
Yeah, I might hand it over to you, Rob Cross. I'll pick 3-2-1 for both sides because we're about to hit the medal. I'll just look through the list, Rob, if you want to take over for a bit, and I'll pick my 3-2-1 quickly.
Yeah, certainly a big win tonight by St Mary's, as the two teams are just separating there, still shaking some hands. These are two great clubs, great rivals. We've seen them play 3 times already this season. 2 great wins by the Tiwi Bombers back in round 3 and round 8. It's one of the best games of the season back in round 3. It was 20 goals to 17 that night. And we thought tonight that maybe the Bombers were slight favourites, but St Mary's have assured themselves of second spot on the ladder and shown that they could be a force to be reckoned with coming into the finals.
We are about to award the Spirit of the Game medal. We do thank you all for being here at TIO Stadium round 17 to support the No More campaign. thank all the players across the entire weekend who have supported the No More campaign with the orange armbands. And of course our umpires wearing the orange socks. The Spirit of the Game Award is presented by No More and will be awarded to a player from each team. The medal recipient will go to the player that was deemed by the opposition coach as having the best, demonstrating the positive community values of respect, teamwork and fair play during the game. We do have Mark Motlop, who did the coin toss earlier, who's going to be awarding the Spirit of the Game medallions. Okay, and the Tiwi coach has decided the Spirit of the Game medallion will go to Sean Edwards. And a massive round of applause to Tiwi Bombers Chris Jones, chosen by the St Mary's coach.
So there it is, the Spirit of the Game medal awarded to St Mary's Sean Edwards, and for the Tiwi Bombers, Chris Jones. There it is, full time here at TIO Stadium with the Tiwi Bombers 5-9-39, defeated by St Mary's 13-11-89.
That we send the message through the power of sport to change the way the public views family violence. Let's hear it for both the recipients of the Spirit of the Game medal, and once again, congratulations on the win to St Mary's. Thank you for being here tonight.